welcome to the Swedish Junior Hockey Podcast. Today's guest, actually a recommendation from a previous guest, Malte Hasselgren, his previous coach, Leonardo Asen, from Tranås, Sverige.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, so we were talking a little bit. You are now the head coach of the J20 region team in Huddinge outside of Stockholm.
Yes, that's correct.
But on when we were recording this on Zoom, you still have your Falu EF picture on there, so it's good. It's good. You shouldn't change it.
No, I had a so great time in Falun, so I had to appreciate it a little bit. So why not to keep the picture on the email to show me.
And we're going to dive into your background, and then a couple of the main topics that I want to talk about is, we've had a lot of guests on from Stockholm, and a few, but I like to be able to talk about the differences in the region, especially from a head coaching spot at J20 region, and the difference between smaller clubs, medium clubs, and I think that you guys are kind of a medium to large club, but has its certain role in the almost like a farm team to the big clubs like Djurgården and Oik, but in J20 region, which we've talked about with the previous guests, Frans de Groot, that came through in Huddinge, that I know you coached as well, about the hockey factory of Huddinge and why that is kind of known for that. But let's talk about one of my favorite guests so far, Malte Hasselgren, who you coached in two places.
Yes, that's correct. I coached him in Falun, and then I had the privilege to coach him like 2 months in Huddinge before he left to Nal.
Because he was saying that, he was waiting for his visa, I think, to come through, and then I have to ask you kind of knew what you were getting, right? And you were like, if I have a chance to get 2 months out of him, I'd rather have him on my roster, right?
Yeah, of course. Malte is I have always loved him as a hockey player. He's a very skilled, and after a couple of years, I can say he's developed the hard work too. But I think he's a good goal scorer. He always want to learn, be better, and I just love to coach that kind of player. And Malte is, yes, of course, one of the best and most fun players I have been coaching for my 13 years as a hockey coach. Yeah.
All right. So let's go back a little bit. So you told me offline here, you're from Tranås originally, but you have a background that you're originally, your ancestry is from Colombia. So I know you told me you were adopted, but how does it work? Like, so I'm a dual citizen. So one of the advantages of being U.S. and American, and my son who plays in Sweden has a dual citizenship, which is incredibly advantageous in sports, because you can, he is the only, so in J18 last year, he was the only American in all of Sweden J18 at the time. There's only like 3 Americans in J20. So few Americans are over there. How does it work for you? Do you have do you have a dual citizenship?
Actually, I have. So I was born in Colombia, in Bogota. So when I was like 2 years old, my parents, Shell and Ursula, adopted me and bring me to Tranås, there I have been grown up. So Colombia, but I had never felt like a Colombian. Many Latino people who ask me like, where are you from? I'm from Colombia. Oh, Latino. So how do you feel to be Latino? I mean, I always say sorry, but I don't feel like a Latino. I just feel like to be. I'm just a Swedish guy. I
Yeah,
feel like a Swedish guy.
and
not
it's
not blue eye and blonde
blonde.
Swedish guy, but yeah, but a little bit more darker Swedish guy. But yeah,
Yeah, but I got to imagine, you know, when I've heard like Mika Zibanejad and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and that has, you know, an ancestry that is not blue-eyed, blonde Swede,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That it's a uniqueness, and it is it's not always easy
no,
to not be like, and especially in a place like Sweden, because coming over to the US 30 years ago, you know, what does everybody talk about in Sweden is, and it's true, like first time I brought my wife over, she was like, you know, it's just blonde and blue
yeah,
people over here. I mean, it
yeah,
is kind of, that's the way it is. But anyway, uh, so I had a guest on a long time ago from can't remember where he's from, Acevedo, and we were talking about um he was from Central America, but there was, you know, he moved to Edmonton,
yeah.
Canada, and became a hockey fan. But I'm imagining there's not a lot of hockey going on in Colombia, especially in Bogota.
No, no, I'm sorry, but I think it's no one actually. I mean, maybe some adopted players somewhere in this world, some who play hockey, but I don't think this is. I mean, no, no. I think soccer is
Yeah,
more that kind of game in Colombia.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to bring the Colombian passion uh
Yes.
from the soccer pitch to the hockey rink, which I'm sure you do. But
Yeah,
uh
I try to be a little bit uh, Latino in hockey, but you know, yeah, it's kind of hard.
yeah. So Tranås, I had to, you know, I grew up in Leksand, which is the center of Sweden, center of hockey in the world, the most, I think, searched team in Elite Prospects or something I read somewhere, but not everybody believes in that theory. But I had to look up where Tranås is, because I don't think I've ever been to Tranås. But those who don't know what Tranås is, I pulled it up on Google Maps. How do you describe Tranås growing up there?
Oof, that's a pretty hard one because I always say Tranås is just a little. I should not say it, but a little town in like nowhere. But it is actually 45 minutes between Jönköping and Linköping.
Yeah. There's no
So
hockey going on in those places.
yeah, you know, I
I,
mean, you know, it's rather. I mean, it's rather you're a HV71 fan or
yep.
you're a Linköping HC fan in Tranås. You know, that's the big thing, and so uh, I have been grown up to be a Färjestad BK fan, so it's been hard for me when I grew up because my dad has always, you know, he's from Värmland and
Okay.
born in Värmland. So yeah, that's the thing. So I always been a Färjestad fan. So always when I grew up and as a kid, I always been like, oh, Färjestad sucks, and and I always been like, yeah, HV71 sucks and Linköping sucks. So yeah, no, it's always been, but Tranås, it's a very good hockey place. You know, a lot of people loves hockey in Tranås. So it's like Vimmerby and Nybro and Kalmar. You know, hockey is I don't know right now, but it is probably the biggest sport in Tranås right now, and they are pretty good. And over the couple years, I think they have developed a good youth academy too. They have bring a lot of good hockey players the last year to HV71 and to Linköping. So yeah, I think Tranås is okay.
Yeah, and
Not the best place, but yeah.
so that leads kind of into my main thought of you know, that I want people to understand, whether it's a Swedish listener or an international listener, about, but it's part of the identity and how what produces good hockey players internationally or even in Sweden.
Yeah.
It's built in those little rinks, right?
Yes.
So we'll
Yes.
talk later on about Klubben i mitt hjärta, the team in my heart, but like every every player probably started off like I did. I happened to be in Leksand, but you started off in back in my days, it was called Björnliga. Now it's probably called Tre Kronor Hockey School.
Yes, exactly.
Which is probably going on right now in a lot of those rinks that are bringing in young kids, and they're bringing, they get to wear a yellow jersey with the 3 crowns on it.
Yeah.
And then you get into this funnel of youth hockey so what was it for you when you started in Tranås? Parent coaches, I'm assuming, at that age group when you started?
Yes. I mean, I had a parent coaches the whole way up to J20 under 20, I think. So I mean, that's the thing. I mean, in the small clubs like Tranås and organization like that, it's hard. I think for when I was young, like I'm 31 now, so in that time, I think it was very hard to get coaches outside from the town. So right now, I think it's more coaches, young coaches, who take steps to be coaches in younger ages, and probably start your coaching career in U14, U15, U16. But in my time, I think it was not that kind of interest for young coaches. So we always had parents coaches who did what they could, like. Yeah.
Who was your favorite coach growing up? Anybody that, I can think back at the guys that coached me, and they were pivotal in my life, really. But growing up, was it anybody in particular that you're like, yeah, it was this one guy?
Not really, actually. I'm very grateful for the time I had with the coaches, but no, I don't think so. I mean, and that sounds very boring and sounds very ungrateful, but yeah, I think that's the case.
Well, but I think that also is another part of Sweden, is that there's not this one guy, right?
Yeah.
So when I was growing up, there was 4, right? And it was not, this person had the title of being the head coach, but it really was a group effort, and everybody's pulling together as volunteers. They're not getting paid for this, but they have this passion for helping kids, and it's just that it is really a team atmosphere. The other part about, so a town like Tranås that has an elite team, not that plays in SHL, but they have their men's team that plays in Hockeyettan, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So Hockeyettan, 3rd division, and they're not going to play Linköping and HV71, but the rivalries are probably what? Vimmerby?
Yes, it is.
Skövde, maybe?
Vimmerby, Skövde, not now, is Kalmar and Nybro, but always. I think Vimmerby is the most intense game in Tranås. Mjölby, it has always been a big rivalry. So yeah, that's two teams, Mjölby and Vimmerby. I think it's the biggest competition.
And I think that's kind of like, so what does that mean is that you got an organization, you got a town that really burns around, there has the passion around the club, and then you have a junior team that either plays, and I think they're playing Division 1, right?
Yeah, both. I think yes, J20, J18 both play in Division 1. Yeah.
And then you have a gymnasium in that area that probably is an LIU designation, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
And I just think that if you put those little thumbtacks on the Swedish maps, they're all the same. Whether it's whether it's in Vimmerby, Tranås, Hudiksvall, Lerum, Falun, and all these kind of places, right? So, but what is it that makes because you've been to these different places, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you were in Falun, that I have a connection with, awesome city. But what's the difference between, let's say, Tranås, Falun, versus now you're going into a bigger organization like Huddinge?
Yeah. I mean, I've been coaching in clubs like Tranås, Växjö, HV71, Tingsryd, Alvesta, Nässjö, Falun, Huddinge. So yeah, I mean, I've been coaching in a lot of different organizations and teams. But your question is, I mean, I think the difference is how the youth academy develop hockey players, what kind of status you have, like how is your organization in the youth academy, how do you develop players, how do you work with them, how do you talk with them, how is your practice, how do you help them to be better every day? Because in many I mean smaller organization like Tranås, Vimmerby and stuff, you have like youth academy that their players, you know, practice with your own age, older age, and maybe two more older age. So they always get a lot of ice time, because when I see Tranås, they have been developed very good hockey players these couple of years. But many of these players, when you are U16 in the age, like when you are 15, 16, many of them play J20 in Tranås. Because
so what's your opinion on that? Good, bad?
I mean, it's hard to say, because because what kind of player you are. I mean, some of these kids are like very big. I mean they have developed a lot of, you know, height and weight, and probably ready to be like in that kind of in that kind of level. But I always say, I mean, if you're good enough to play in with older players, of course you should do that, because that will develop you as a hockey player. But what I want to say is, you don't need to rush anything, because I think you have to have patience with your development, because everyone cannot play with 2-3 years old their guy, but that doesn't mean you can't develop and be a good hockey players. But so some teams, some organization like to push up young players to play with older, and some organization like to have, you know, stay calm, have patience and stuff, and maybe both work. But that's kind of what's happened.
And on paper, every organization in the academy or in hockey gymnasium is supposed to have, so the resources aren't necessarily equal between Färjestad and let's take Falun. Were you working with the academies as well when you were in Falun, or did you have was there someone else that was responsible for the hockey gymnasium?
Someone else had responsible for the hockey gymnasium. So I was only like a, you know, head coach. But
for the team,
the thing is, yes, exactly. So, but the thing is, I think it was the second year or the third year, I don't remember. Then I was like assistant coach in J20 and head coach in J18, and 1 year I was head coach in J20 and assistant coach. So I had a lot of, you know, when you have both J18 and J20, you could, you know, talk the same language. How you want to develop, how you want to, what do you want the player have to attitude and stuff like that. So
but the resources, go back to the resources like in Falun versus, let's say, where your dad is from, or let's use Färjestad as an example. SHL team, NIU designation, much coaches. I mean, Falun's facilities are awesome. I mean, they're probably one of the better places to be, even at with what they have. But because you're an LIU designation versus NIU,
yeah,
the resources and the economy isn't there at a place like Falun.
yeah.
Maybe, I'm not sure how it is in Huddinge, maybe in between.
Yeah, I mean, that depends what kind of organization you have. Like, I mean, I don't think every NIU have the best organization. I don't think that. I don't think every NIU is better than every LIU, because I think if you have a good LIU with good instructions, good coaches, and people who wants to and who loves to develop, then I think you have a very good opportunity to be a better hockey player. So I don't think you have to be a best player in the world to go NIU. I don't think that's the reason, because if you see in Stockholm, like SDA, Täby, they don't have NIU, but they have a very good, I mean, youth organization. They have good J18 teams. So I don't think that's the case to be successful. I don't think the NIU is the way to be successful. Maybe if you are in Luleå, like maybe Frölunda, HV. I mean, of course, they do good stuff. They have developed a lot of good hockey players like Örebro. So I don't mean NIU is I mean like NIU, LIU. That depends what team, what organization.
Yeah, and I just had a conversation too where I was talking to Victor Widlund, who came out of Frölunda and got accepted into NIU in Frölunda, one of the top programs. I mean, you could argue is the top program, junior program in the country, but it's in retrospect, I mean, he struggled there. And then the reason why I had him on the podcast, because he played in the NAL and now he's playing for Alvesta and is doing really good. But it's, you know, in retrospect or hindsight's 2020, to be able to say, maybe he would have been better off to be in the man in a smaller place like Falun or Huddinge, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know, I had that conversation with Urban Umark too about we were talking, this been a year ago, about advising a young player of, you know, don't just go after the shiny thing, right? Oh, I need to go there because they have the best team. Well, that may not be the best place for you.
Exactly.
Are you going to be able to go? I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's got a 2005 birth year defenseman here in the U.S. and really, really good player, but is you know, in the middle of, you know, trying to compete in the North American Hockey League, and it's tough. And is it better to play NCDC than the NAL if you're not getting the ice time because the competition's so tough? Same thing happens in Sweden.
Yes,
you know,
it does.
Is it better to play for Frölunda or Djurgården in a small role, or is it better to play in Huddinge in a big role? Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good, I mean, that you say, because so many young players, now I talk about J20.
Yeah.
We are playing like in the J20 regional, and we have J20 national. So I think so many players, young players in J20 regional, I have been coaching a lot of good players who always need to say, I want to play J20 super, also J20 national.
Yeah.
I want to play J20 national. And I say, okay, of course. But so many teams won't take, you know, last junior in J20 to bring them to their own J20 national. But I always say, I mean, if you don't get the ice time and the trust and that way, why do you go there to play in third or fourth line, play like 9-10 minutes, if even that, or play with us and have a lead role and develop, and maybe you will go up to the senior in our Division 1. But most of the time, you know, the young players, I mean, they travel, they stay in a hotel. It's very luxury and it's very fun to play against like those teams. But in the way, they never think about, how do I develop what do I get?
Yes.
Because many players always go there because they think it's so big, so good, so luxury, and so that's the good thing you keep up.
Yeah, so let's hone in a little bit here on your club and your team, Huddinge.
Yeah.
Who's so here's my I've listened to a lot of podcasts with Thomas Johansson Schumme.
Yeah.
Who I think, if I'm not mistaken, played in Huddinge.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, but when I think of Huddinge, I think of it as a really solid development factory for young hockey players in the Stockholm region.
Yeah.
That doesn't have, so when you're looking at the elite teams, the A team or the adult pro teams, it's not in the, I don't know, what level do they play? Hockeyettan or?
Hockeyettan, yes.
Okay. So they're not in the SHL, they're not in Allsvenskan. So, but in Stockholm now,
yeah, it's
not an
always
SHL team.
Yeah.
It's is AIK in Allsvenskan still?
Yes, they are, and Djurgården too.
Djurgården and Södertälje, I know they've struggled. Almost
Allsvenskan.
Yeah, they're in Allsvenskan.
Exactly.
But the three big teams, I would say in Stockholm, Djurgården, who's always been kind of touted as number one, down. More than likely, they're going to find their way back to SHL, and they should. I really think so. But AIK, Södertälje, big clubs. But then those are the big clubs. Those are the ones who has the NIU designation. And then you've got these other teams that when you're recruiting, or whoever's in charge of the hockey gymnasium and they're recruiting players for the hockey gymnasium in Huddinge, you're competing at J18 and J20 with those guys.
Exactly. That's because we are also in NIU. NIU Huddinge is also NIU.
Oh, it is a NIU. Okay.
Yes, it is. It is actually. So yeah, I mean, it's a very hard competition here in Stockholm because, like you said, we have AIK, we have Södertälje, and Djurgården. But the thing is, it's even harder now because many players in Stockholm actually leaves to other teams right now because we have Leksand, Luleå, Skellefteå. They bring players when they are U16 players.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, so it is Örebro too. So yeah, I mean, it is very hard competition, but I think Huddinge is a very, very good club to develop because we have a good history. We have a lot of good people here, coaches who loves to develop and work hard. So I think every day it's a good develop to be here in Huddinge as a player because we always want to keep forward to be better and to take next step because we have I mean Huddinge have been a couple of years have been struggling a little bit in the senior teams and the junior teams. So but right now I think the club it's on the right path right now. And I think
what is success? I mean, what is the goal? Is not necessarily to play in the SHL, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the goal is to be, compete to the playoff to Allsvenskan.
Yep.
And of course, the club wants to be in Allsvenskan. Of course, yeah. I mean, our goal is always to be to the next season to play against AIK or Djurgården if they're going to be there, or Södertälje. So I mean, that's the way in Huddinge. We always want to grow, to be better, and always wants to take next steps. So the club, of course, wants to be in the Hockey Allsvenskan. That's the reason we're here to be a winners.
But let me ask you this: how does that goal compare to the goal of developing players? Because when I say the identity in my mind that Huddinge is a hockey factory, is that kind of the little bit of the identity and what you're proud of as an organization is that we take players and we make them really good players for them to then go somewhere.
Yeah,
Some will stay with us,
yeah,
but
yeah,
some will go to Skellefteå, some will go to
yeah,
Leksand, and we
yeah,
want them to be, I'm a Huddinge guy, and Huddinge is where I got my wings, so to speak, and developed.
yeah. That's a very good thing, because I think I mean, our goal is always to develop good hockey players, and our goal in J18 is to be, I mean, compete to hockey. I mean, to compete to J18 Allsvenskan, and our goal as a J20 team is to develop players who can take the step up to our senior team.
Yeah,
that's our premier goal. But if we do a good thing too, we like, I mean, promote players like Tomodo, Djurgården, I mean, you know, Leksand and stuff like that. So we have a big, I mean, we have a big successful the way to who we want a plan, who wants to bring up players to our senior team. That's our main goal right now, to develop good hockey players in our J20 to play in our senior team. That's our main goal.
How does it work for you? Because you also have an advantage being in Hockeyettan, where you can push your guys up even from J18, but definitely in J20 to go and practice with Hockeyettan, you know, where if you played in AIK or Södertälje and they play in Allsvenskan, the leap to Allsvenskan from a J20 is huge.
I think it's very huge. So
and it's a disadvantage, right?
I mean, and the funny fact is that most of the players who play in J20 national is actually going to Hockeyettan.
Yep.
I mean, it's not many players who take the step to SHL, Allsvenskan. You know, it's a little bit minimum players who actually, you know, make it to that level. So many players comes to Hockeyettan, but the thing is, I think in Huddinge, our J20 team has been developed players to Hockeyettan. I think our J20 have developed more hockey players to Hockeyettan than a lot of J20 national team does.
Yeah.
So but in case, I mean, and that mean, I mean, it's not only Huddinge, it's Segertorp and other teams like that. So
yeah. So in your, let's say now with your group there in J20, what's your opinion of, so let's say we just talked about Frans de Groot and Malte Hassergren that tried their wings in the US, right?
Yeah.
Or now you got BCHL as an option in Canada right?
Exactly.
The relationship that you develop with your players, and they're coming to you, they may come to you as a coach more than they do their advisor, because they spend a lot more time with you than they do with their advisor.
Exactly.
And if they go to their parent's going to say, I don't know anything about the North American Hockey League or the NCDC or the BCHL.
Yeah.
What's your opinion? Because here's the thing, you got a guy that is going through hockey gymnasium. They're graduating. They got another year of juniors eligibility in Sweden for J20.
Yeah.
So this year is going to be the 04 player, right? So you've got these 04 players that, you know, they could, some of them can play Division 1. Some may, your best player may get a shot in Allsvenskan, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a big leap.
That's a huge
leap. To be really honest, I think that's a too big leap for my players. But I think many players we got this year has a good chance to be good Hockeyettan players this season for our senior team, or next season for, I mean, a lot of good Hockeyettan teams. So I think I think that leap will be small, but Hockeyallsvenskan, it's a very big step, and I think what our players need to think about is how you act, how you prepare yourself, how professional you are, how you practice, how much you do the extra stuff every day, and every guy doesn't have that. I mean, have that in yourself. But my goal and my work is to help them to develop that, so they can get the chance to be a good hockey player they can be like.
So what's your opinion of them when they're sitting there wondering, should I try to go to Hockeyettan or should I try to go play juniors? Because take that 04 now, that is that or no, let's use the 05 player.
Yes.
They're graduating from high school or a gymnasium. They could stick around for the last year of juniors, which would make your team stronger for next year. You don't want to lose a senior guy, but they're looking, they got the talent and they could really develop. Take a Malte Hasse again, smaller in size. You know, now he went over there, you know, realized how tough it was, went home, went back, and then won a championship in the North American, right?
Yes.
So it's definitely an experience that they could do. But what's your opinion of that versus like trying to make it as a fourth liner in the Hockeyettan?
I mean, I really like the opportunity to go over to play junior in USA. I mean, play NAL or NCDC. I think that's a great opportunity to play a fast, hard, physical hockey, to develop your other skills than you have to be like, you know, as a hockey player. And I think that's a funny ride to do. I mean, I think now what I have heard and heard, or I've seen, I think that's a funny league. I think that's a good league, like NCDC too. So I mean, Huddinge, we have a lot of players who actually go over to play junior. I think in a couple of years we have been, you know, a lot of players who try to go over there, play hockey, but you know, it is pretty hard. It is a hard league. It's very tough leagues and tough coaches and good coaches, and we have a little bit different culture in Sweden what the USA coaches have, I think. But what I mean with that, I think that's a very good opportunity to go over, have these coaches, have this opportunity to develop as a hockey player. I think that's a very good step. How
do you prepare that guy? First, you have to have the relationship, right?
Yes. You need to have the relationship, and to be honest. But I think the only thing I have to prepare them is to know they have to be prepared when they come over.
Yeah.
You can't go a whole summer to do nothing and think that will work out. No. I mean, it's a very, very tough league, in a tough coaches, and you know, you have to, you know, be as your best all the time. Yeah. So yeah, it's hard to prepare them because they don't know, and I don't know how the coach will be. I mean, some coaches are very, you know, strict and like that. So yeah, I think many are from my Swedish players who've been over there have been a wake-up call. Like, wow, this is so much different from the last year.
How does it work? How does it work during your season? Do you get contacted by advisors, or do you get contacted by scouts, or do you get contacted by the general managers from those teams? Do they come and watch your games, or how does it work for the Swedish player to be noticed over here in the US?
I think actually most of the players who actually want to go over there and try, they contact by themselves, the coaches or GM, and send like videos and stuff like that, and you know, the coaches see, oh, okay, it looks interesting, so they either draft him or sign a tender or something and they go over there, but that doesn't mean you actually in the spot, you know, in the team. So you had to do more than just sign a tender or be drafted. You have to actually come over there and do a good job and present yourself. So
Yeah, and I think back with the conversation with Malte and his brother, and you know, his brother gets called into the, and I think you coached him as well, and he goes
yes,
over
yes,
there and he gets called in the office, and Malte says, "Yeah, he got cut." You know,
yeah. I mean,
it's a wake up call, and you know, you're realizing it's a business. You know,
yes.
it's not a vacation. But let me ask you too, do they contact you in terms of what's this guy all about, or do they?
Yeah. I mean, some coaches does, but not many, because I think they want to. I mean, some coach, I think, just okay, just try this guy. I mean,
Can he play? Can he hang? So
yeah,
he got the size, he got the speed, he's got the hands. We'll figure
yeah,
out if he's gonna
exactly,
if this is gonna be. We got plenty of competition. It'll weed out the bad egg naturally.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, some coaches doesn't. I mean, don't care if you're big or small. Some coaches doesn't care if you have good stick handle or if you are power. I mean, I think that it depends what kind of coach you are in the league or what kind of like game you play. I mean,
Yeah.
some team play a little bit more puck possession. Some of the team like to work hard and take the puck low and just forechecking. I mean, that I think that it depends what kind of player you look for and what the game you play.
Yeah. So, all right, let's round out a little bit here on talk about now you're so J20 region in Stockholm. So you're in
Yeah.
what is the is it considered J20 region East?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So the teams that you're playing, let me pull it up right quick. You have a broken season here between now and I guess you just started last week like everybody else, right?
Yeah. We have been playing 4 games.
Okay. So and then you got to go all the way to Christmas, and then
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
what's the
No,
breakdown?
yeah, this is kind of, I mean, a little bit weird, I think, here in East, because we play now a very fast division, and then we go into a new division like J20 fortsättning.
Yeah.
There are 2 other teams from the down, like J20 Division 1 coming up, and 2 teams in our series as our division going down. So you in this division you had to come top 8
Top
to go
8. Okay.
forward. Yeah,
Okay.
top 8. So the two bottom teams go down, and the 2 top team from the lower division go up, and then we have a new division to Christmas. No, yeah, two. Yeah, wait. I think we have the new division goes to February, I think,
Yep.
and then we have playoff 1, playoff 2, playoff 3. And then we have like qualification to J20 National. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long ride. I mean, it's hard.
But in your situation now, when you're, I've got the teams up here. So there's 10 teams in J20 region East. They're
Yeah,
all right there in. You don't have to, other than traffic, you don't have to go very far. It may take you a
yeah,
while in Stockholm because of traffic,
yeah,
but it's you know everybody knows everybody over there, and but it's all about being top 8, so you don't get
yeah,
between now and Christmas, right?
yeah. I mean, it's. I
And then
mean,
you reset.
the yeah, then you reset. So this league we have right now, this division doesn't matter so much. I mean, you need to come, to be top 8, and but the other division, that's the more, compete. Then you have to be top 4 to go to the playoff, and the other 3 or 4 like coming to the middle, and the bottom teams, qualification to the series down below. Liksom.
Yeah. But as a coach now, that means that, and I'm looking at your roster, and you've got, you have you've given a lot of J18 players also the opportunity, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, I think, in this year we have a big roster, but I think we have been, our senior team have been struggling a little bit with injuring and stuff like that. So a lot of good J20 player has been up and play and practice with our senior team. We have been pushing up a good J18 players who take next step to their development. So I think I like it when we push up players.
Yeah, isn't that a huge opportunity, especially now when you've got it's competition when you're playing all these teams, and everybody wants to win every game.
Yes.
But as a coach, you're also looking over the big picture, and you could probably improve your record by 1 or 2 wins by playing only your top guys. But come January, when it matters, and come February or really March when you go into playoffs, you just want to be in the race, and you want to be able to have, I've played all my players and developed them as much as we can and groomed them. And, isn't that kind of how it works?
I mean, of course, my goal as a hockey coach, and that is one thing I always tell my players, I want them to take the next step. I want to help them to be better every day. I mean, of course, I want them in the end of the season. I want us to be so successful we can be. I mean, I would love to go up to the J20 national with our team. That would be a dream. But in the end, I think the thing is, if I can help 6 players to take the next step, either it's 05 or 04 to take Hockeyettan or Super Elite or J20 national, then I think I have been a good coach and done a good job, because then I have developed players. Because in Huddinge, we always want to win. We always want to be successful. That's the reason we're here. We love to win. But in the end, I think if we win, that is when we develop players to take the next step. If we have 4 players in Hockeyettan season after in our senior team, then I'm happy, because then I have done my job pretty good.
So I'm curious about that too. In the first years of coaching, you were kind of paying your dues, and your experience. And then you had 3 years, I believe, in Falun, and but now you've been in one spot for a little while.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good. I mean, I think you have to keep doing your stuff, keep doing your work in the same organization to put your print. That, I mean, if you do a job the organization Huddinge believes in, that's, I think, if you can work in the long term, I think that's help a little more if you switch coaches every year, because they come with new things, new stuff. And I think do your thing in the long term. I think that's the best thing you can do as a hockey organization.
But take that back to kind of the relationship that you're building with I just think it's great when you can have a guy like Malte who says, yes, this one coach, Leonardo, you should have him on the podcast. Right. But now when you've been in one spot, this is your 4th season, those relationships that you're building with these players, those are lifetime. Maybe you're not going to be super close with all 25.
No, of course. And I like what you say, because I think in this year, just to keep it short here, I think this year we had after the last season, we had a very small group. I mean, we have 8 players after the season who stayed. I mean, who actually could stay to this season. So we had to, to bring players from other teams in this regional, I mean, this league to our. So I think we have 13, 14 new players this season who comes from other clubs. So it's a little bit different, of course, from like, BK Skoga, Södertälje, Björklöven, Tyrsa, and stuff like that. So, so yeah, it's been a different challenge like the other years, because the last season we had the 03 players who not junior right now. We had a big group 2 years there. We had 2 years that we had the same group develop, and that was the other thing, because then you got a good relationship with them when you work with them 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So that's a little bit different. This year is more challenge, because we coaches have to be better to the group and to talk and do other stuff.
Yeah. No, it's great. All right. So 2 more questions. You're 31 now. You met yourself at 17.
Yeah.
You got a little bit more experience now, but what are the things you didn't know then that you wish now, with the experience that you have, if you sit there with young Leonardo at 17, what would you tell him? What advice do you tell him?
I think you always have to believe in yourself as a coach, because if you're a leader and a coach, you always have to believe in yourself and always try to get the players to be better. But you always need to see the person behind the hockey, because I think to be a hockey coach and to be a leader, that's 2 different things. And you always have to believe in yourself. You do what you do what you can. And if you do the best thing you can do as a hockey coach, okay, that will be enough. But if I tell myself when I was like 17, I would say, have patience. Yeah. Because stuff will come. Because if you're 17, you will not be a good hockey coach. I mean, you need to have experience, but you can be a good leader. But it takes years to develop stuff, knowledge. Other stuff, knowledge from other coaches. I've been working with good hockey coaches over the years who helped me to, see stuff, tactical, leadership, and everything. So I think you can't be a good hockey coach and think you are a good hockey coach at 17. It will take a lot of years to even be a K coach, and you will never be a complete hockey coach, because it takes your whole life to be a good hockey coach. I think, because I think you always can learn something new.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, and yeah.
No, I think you're spot on, and I appreciate your willingness not only to come on this podcast, but also your genuine, like, the strive to improve, so you can do a better job, and I think that's great. All right. We mentioned before we have a partnership with Target Aid. So James Reason, who's from, I think he's coaching Värmdö J18 Division 2 this year. Also a hockey nerd, but we mentioned this with every guest, and you have your opportunity to kind of which team is the team in your heart. But if we go back, kind of closing the loop here about that's what it's all about, is these smaller teams or organizations to try to highlight, and that's what we're trying to do from a help these clubs, put them on the map. We'll put them under our little banner on that we can share. But which team is your team in your heart? You've been in a lot of them. Yes,
I think that's a battle between Falun and Huddinge, because it has been so many good years in the both organizations, and I love them very much, because it's been a fun ride. I have been coaches with a lot of good people, in both Falun and Huddinge, who I really appreciate. And yeah, I mean, they are so good people, and so many good. I mean, times we have been together, liksom, and I mean, won a lot of good games and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think it's a hard rivalry between Falun and Huddinge, but right now I have to say Huddinge because, yeah, this is my fourth season, and yeah, I just love it here. It's a very good hockey club.
Well, we're going to put it down because we already had Fallen on there from Malta.
Yeah,
so it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll share the love a little bit there too. And,
yeah.
Leonardo, I appreciate you coming on so much, sharing your story. And it's going to be interesting to follow. We're going to follow your team in J20 region East as you battle it out with our other guest from a long time, Leo Girard in Sollentuna. I think you're playing against
them. Yeah. We play against Sollentuna in the first game, I think. Yes, it was. I think, yeah. So and Sollentuna, they played a good hockey this season. I mean, I think they worked very hard. I mean, I was very impressed how they managed to be a good unit.
Yeah.
When we play against them. So I mean, Leo had done a good job there, and yeah, he's a good coach, and I respect him.
Yeah, two young coaches that have gotten a lot of miles on the tires, so to speak, and good experience, and now you're able to actually take it to another level. So thanks for coming on. We'll stay in touch, and
thank you very much.
And we've got a few of these bank. You know, this probably will be released in December, and we're now in October. So by the time this gets released, you know, for those who listen, they're going to be like, well, we're just in the start of the seasons. And when you listen to this, it's going to be wrapping up kind of the fall season going into so it's going to be interesting to see where you're going to end up.
Hopefully we have been a solid, good team, and our players have been developed a lot since.
Well, thanks again. We'll stay in touch.
Thank you very much, Jacob. I very appreciate it to be here.